So before we get into today's video, and feel free to skip ahead and skip this portion if you're just here for the gaming stuff, I want to give a heartfelt rest in peace to my great Aunt Marie. Last night I could not fall asleep. I didn't end up falling asleep till like 4:30 or 5, and like something just felt off, and I get that way sometimes. And I woke up to a bunch of text messages and missed calls that my great Aunt Marie had passed away. She was 94 years old, the most stereotypical Italian woman like in the world. We just had her 94th birthday party, and we all went over to my godmother's house to celebrate her turning 94. And she was in good spirits. And, you know, she did a lot for me growing up. In the Northeast, there's lots of multifamily houses, especially for people that came over from like Italy and stuff like that in the 40s and 50s and beyond. And we actually lived for many years in a multifamily house that she owned. She lived on the bottom floor. We lived on the middle floor. And then my godmother, which was her daughter, and her husband and son and daughter lived on the top floor. So I spent a lot of time with great Aunt Marie. You know, if I was sick or something and I didn't want to go to school, I would hang out with her and watch soap operas, and she would give me ginger ale and chicken noodle soup to feel better. She used to call me the little professor because I was a kind of a smart kid and stuff like that. And just the most stereotypical Italian woman in the world. Like, what you doing? Oh, stop it. Shut up in your face. Like, you need to eat. Manja, manja, manja. Like, if you were under 300 pounds, you were skinny to her. And I remember, I'm trying not to talk about this too long. I remember sometimes she wouldn't be able to watch me, like when my mom had to work, and I'd be like, well, where's Aunt Marie? And she was like, oh, she's working today. And I was like, oh, what does she do? And she was a landscaper. But instead of saying that, my mom would go, Aunt Marie, she chopped the tree. She make plenty money. And she was like this little 5 foot, on a good day, 5 foot, 100-pound person. But she would be out there doing cartwheels and chopping down trees. But, you know, later on in life, she did have some problems. She fell and hurt her hip. And then she's been in and out of the hospital with lung problems and sepsis and stuff like that. But it was always like, oh, she's going to kick out. You know, it's Aunt Marie. She's been through so much. And unfortunately, she passed away. So I love you, Aunt Marie. I'm glad we got to spend your 94th birthday together. It's been a tough year for me in terms of losses when it comes to family, friends, people I grew up watching. But rest easy, Aunt Marie. You are loved, and you will always be loved. You are one of a kind person, and I'll see you again. I will see you again. But enough about me getting emotional. We got to talk about video games, pal. We got to talk about video games because Christ on a cracker. What is wrong with this industry? What is wrong with this industry? I have said for the past couple of years that we are in a decline. We are in a bit of a downward spiral, heading towards a crash. And I think every day we start to realize that RGT was spitting. All right. I was spitting on this stuff because good God Almighty, why in the hell are we talking about the PlayStation 6 and the next generation Xbox console? I'm sorry. Did this console generation get started without notifying me? Did I slip into a coma and I missed several years of high quality video games releasing from first party studios from these companies, and I was in a coma and I slept through it? Because spoiler alert, I don't think that is the case. So the latest rumors that are out there have both the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Series whatever. Maybe they'll call it the Series PC because it's allegedly going to be a PC console hybrid, as both targeting a 2027 release. And I know what you're saying to yourself, well, RGT, when you look at the traditional console cycle, 7 years is more than applicable for something like this to happen. And Sure. In the past, when there was actually things that you could do that were a bit different with the hardware, I completely agree with you. The whole thing of it was developers themselves wanted this new hardware. There was new technology that they could do. There was new graphical engines that they could do. So that's why you saw such a turnover when it came to video game consoles. Many times consoles would be 4 or 5 years old and they would already feel a little bit extinct because the next big thing was on the horizon. However, I don't think you can quite say that with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. Sure, the Xbox Series hasn't really lit the world on fire in terms of sales, but I don't think it's because of power. I don't think it's because of performance. The PlayStation 5, I'm still waiting on some banger first-party titles. There's been some good stuff. Most of it was cross-generational. The other stuff was good to great. You know, Astrobot was really great, but I haven't really had a major need to turn on my PlayStation 5 in quite a while because I use my PlayStation 5 for first party games. But now nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about first party Sony games anymore, you know, because they've done this thing where everything gets delayed or canceled, or is it games as a service thing, or something that you are not asking for from PlayStation, but they are trying to feed you. And then when it doesn't work out, they're like, oops, we got egg on our face. We must have misread the market. It's like, yeah, look at your consumer base. Look at what they actually want. Look at the series and franchises that they have supported beforehand. Xbox has the same damn problem. Delays, cancellations. Where's my Perfect Dark? Where's my Everwild? What are you doing at these studios? Is there no quality control? That's something that I think we can agree that both Xbox and PlayStation have a problem with, where they have these higher ups that are so out of touch with what people actually want. Herman Hulse saying Concord's going to be the next big thing, when every single person with a functioning brain could look at that game and be like, I don't know. You know, it's something. I don't think it's going to light the world on fire. And then, of course, 2 weeks later, the game gets pulled, the servers get shut down, refunds get issued, and they're like, oops, we got egg on our face. Yeah, nobody's waiting for Perfect Dark, Xbox. Nobody's waiting for that sort of stuff. But it's like, why are we talking about these new systems? Get your ass in gear and release games on the systems that are out right now. These systems are very capable when it comes to what they're able to do in terms of graphics and performance. You just released a PlayStation 5 Pro pretty recently. Milk that thing for a little bit longer. The baseline PS5 is fine for 95% of games anyways, so most people don't even need the PlayStation 5 Pro. But now you're talking about a PlayStation 6? You're talking about a next generation Xbox console? And it's like, dude, it's not even, the thing that's crazy to me is, it's not even just a new console. If it was just a new console, okay, you know, okay. Like, maybe, I don't know. You really know. Really, honestly, no. But maybe, but no, there's all this other thing. We got a handheld. We got a cheaper model. Like, are you expecting people? We see what video game consoles cost right now. We see the uptick in prices of these video game consoles. Do you honestly think that you're going to have these priced affordably for people to the point of where they will not only buy your main console, but also your peripheral that is a handheld version of it, or some sort of handheld version of it, or a Asus ROG version? Like, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. Spoiler alert. Just make games. Make video games. Have a steady output of video games, because you got to think of it from this perspective. We are seeing how long development cycles are with the current generation of systems. We have seen major titles completely flop. We have seen major titles get completely canceled. The Last of Us Factions, of course, got canceled, and that was a big PlayStation game that a lot of us were looking forward to. Xbox canceling Perfect Dark and stuff like that. You can't even manage what you're doing right now with these systems that came out in a pandemic when development was arguably slow. Everyone was telling you, all these PlayStation fanboys and all these Xbox fanboys, oh, we'll just give it a little bit of time. These consoles came out during a pandemic. And it's like, are we still in one? Are we still, you know, reaping the non-benefits of this pandemic? Because that's what it feels like to me. I feel like this generation hasn't really gotten a swift kick in the ass and really got into gear where like every 2 or 3 months you have some big first party games coming out from these studios. Microsoft, who the hell knows what Xbox is doing? Are they pulling systems out of the marketplace? Are they, focused on hardware, but they're focused on Game Pass, but they're focused on this, but they're putting their games on other platforms? At least Microsoft does have a somewhat consistent output, but how recent is that? Really, it's been the past year or so to where they finally seem to get their footing. But all that be damned, because either this is going to be the longest cross-generational console ever in history, or they're just going to say, we're going to make stuff for the new Xbox. We're going to make stuff for the PlayStation 6. And Sony's going to be like, we're going to make stuff for the PlayStation 6. I don't know where that came from, but it's here. It's here, and you will embrace it. I just think this is ridiculous. There's still PlayStation 4 and Xbox One VCR games coming out. And you're worried about the next generation console. You're worried about going on to the next thing. You're worried about, we're utilizing this AI and all these tech specs. Look at our tech. Who cares about tech specs? Who cares? Why do spec people drive me nuts? They drive me nuts. A spec has never made a good video game. A spec has never made a legendary video game. A spec has never done anything to make the video game industry better. Because you could have all the specs in the world. You could be the strongest platform. And if you're not making games for it, who the hell cares? Who cares? We're going to have the Final Fantasy VII thing. It's going to be across 3 generations, PS4, PS5, PS6. Is that what we're going for with this? How much are these systems going to cost? You think they might be cheap. There'll be a cheaper option that'll suck, that you won't want to buy. But the real system, we're looking at potentially 4 figures here. $1,000 for a video game console. Read the room. Read the room right now. You can get more out of these consoles than you have right now. It is not an issue of power. It is an issue of lazy development. It is an issue of rush. You got to rush, get the yayo. Buzz, give me a yayo. Ho. I don't get this. This is stupid. This is stupid to me. Because as a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series owner since day freaking one, I'm still waiting for really, really good stuff. I'm still waiting for marquee titles that have been teased and talked about for years and have never come to fruition. You're just going to whitewash this PlayStation 5 generation and be like, we made some mistakes, but here's the PlayStation 6. I don't know, man. 2027 seems way too soon. If I had my way, 2029 would be the earliest. 2029 would be the earliest. That way you have more years to get more games on these platforms and actually make a legendary impact. Actually make it feel valuable to the consumer who has purchased these systems instead of just doing all this weird stuff that nobody asked for, nobody wanted, nobody said, hey, give us this. But that's what you decided to do because you don't listen to consumers. You listen to your own intuition, which obviously is not that good, and you listen to those goddamn shareholders. Ridiculous. Anyways, guys, I don't know. If you think we need a PlayStation 6 or an Xbox Series Z, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about a situation. I'm not here to persuade your opinions. I'm just here to give my opinions. And in my opinion, we don't need any of this stuff. You know what we need? Games. Just release games. And worry about hardware later on. This isn't a 16-bit to 32-bit generational leap, a 16-bit to 64-bit generational leap. Those days are behind us. We're at the law of diminishing returns when it comes to video game graphics. And spoiler alert, these stupid freaking kids nowadays, a lot of them are playing stuff that's not graphically intensive. You don't need the new hardware. Let me know what you think of it, though, in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.